Hello and welcome back to A New Pace. My name is Leslie. I'm an artist, art therapist, and creativity coach. And today I want to give you a kickstart, permission to start, and some tips to reignite or ignite your creative healing journey or process. Be able to start making art, especially if you have had a long time since you last made any art. It might be that you haven't made any art since you were at school, or it might be that you used to make things, but then chose not to because you had other hobbies and you wanted to get back into that. So today I want to speak to you about just being able to give yourself permission. I can tell you that actually just start over and over again. But until you allow yourself to step forward and make that first step, no amount of cheering and cheerleading from me will matter. Although actually, if that's what you want, then I am here for you for that too. So one of the first things about starting is that it can feel really enormous and it can feel like really hard to make that first step. And no matter what we say, whether it's art, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's having any hobbies, whether it's doing domestic chores at home, starting can be the hardest thing ever because we often look at the big task. We often look at the whole picture and all of the different things that you foresee that need doing, and it can feel too big. So it can feel really difficult just to get start. But the idea of being able to start is that you've done that first little step. So in getting started, I'm using the word start to give a structure and some tips for you to get started. And these can be used for your creativity as well as for anything in your life. It can be applied and adapted according to like what resonates with you. If it resonates with you, then and you remember it and it feels helpful, then I really appreciate that. And let me know what you think. So S to start with is about small steps, taking those small steps. This is something that I have been guilty of, that so many times I'd struggled to get started, particularly like maybe with fitness things. And people have suggested to me to take those small steps. And I found it frustrating because I've known that, but then I've wanted to do something that's bigger, but I've struggled to do the bigger things because my fitness hasn't been right. I've not been fit enough to do a longer walk or a longer run. So I've known that starting small is necessary, but I've had some resistance to that. But this idea of starting small when it comes to art making, especially when you're doing art as a therapeutic tool or you're using creativity for healing, this comes with all sorts of additional things. So it's thinking about using art in a way that feels helpful for you. And sometimes that first smallest step could be like a micro step. So we could be talking about 30 seconds of doodling, even 10 seconds of doodling might be just enough to tip you that tiny little millimeter towards making something, towards a minute of doodling or a minute of drawing, towards 5 minutes of something, towards then an hour, towards then doing something different. So actually, it's a very similar process to going for a walk to improve your fitness. But the thing with creativity is that it can feel like it's something that's maybe unique to a particular set of people. It can sometimes feel like, well, actually, I'm not very good at art, so it's hard to start. But this gets me onto the next one, which is T, which is about trusting the process and trusting that it's okay for you to make art and allowing yourself to make art, and trusting that by being aware of like what you're wanting to do and knowing that it's going to be beneficial for you, and trusting that you can do it, then it becomes worth it. Trusting that it's worth it. So those small steps that you're making are going to be worth it, because in the end, there's a belief, a faith that it will build momentum and you'll be able to enjoy like a practice that feels fulfilling, that feels liberating, that feels satisfying. So trusting can be really hard, because part of that can be trusting yourself and believing yourself that it's possible for you. And part of it is about having that vision and having that forward thinking. So trusting the very next step, trusting that you can take that very next step, and trusting that if you looked for some help, that you could allow yourself to have that help. Which gets me on to the next one, which is about allowing. I've said that word a few times already. Allowing yourself to approach your creativity from where you are, from the experiences that you've had, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy levels, and approaching and allowing whatever comes up to come up. So it might be that you have had years and years of not making anything, and so actually you might feel a bit of a freeze when it comes to making art. You might feel that you're not sure what to do. So allow yourself to embrace that. It might feel that you want to start with something that feels really familiar. Maybe use some colored pencil crayons, or maybe do some coloring or some doodling, which can feel really a bit safe for you. It might feel familiar for you, which could feel a bit easier, and allowing that, rather than feeling that comparison to what you think you should be doing, and comparison to what you see other people doing in their art. And once again, allowing is about allowing those mistakes to come up. If you go out the lines when you're colouring, or if you draw something and it doesn't look as you've planned, then allow that to happen and create some more, do some more. The worst issue, if something goes wrong, which I wouldn't call it going wrong, I'd be thinking, well, we could have kind of an alternative plan, is that you just have to make some more art, do some more. And that's not such a problem, really, is it? So STAR is about responding and rejoicing and reflecting. So a bit of a mixture of that, responding to like what you're making, how you're feeling, and your energy levels, because sometimes you might be feeling like really low in energy, and the type of art that you make could be matching that energy where you're at. Or you might choose to make some art that boosts your energy levels, that makes you kind of more liberated and more like have more energy. Or it might be that you're feeling like really agitated and hyper aroused, like maybe anxious or like irritated or feeling angry, or there might be lots of fear going on for you. And that might be where you choose to respond to that by creating something that is slower, creating kind of slower marks, making something that's going to feel that you can like calm down and regulate. Actually, that would be a better regulate. And then the last T is about the time, and doing that today, like taking some time to get started. You could be doing it today as a T, or you can be doing it as like how much time you want to allow for your art making. So as you can see, this start model isn't a finely, perfectly constructed thing. It's literally something that I created now. And so it's not perfect. And if that inspires you to do something that's not perfect yourself, just to get those ideas out there, just to get those ideas in flow, then that's something that really delights me. And that's something that, like, by me modeling something and allowing things to not be perfect, hopefully that could demonstrate to you that it doesn't need to be perfect. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing about any thoughts you have about ways that you've got started, times when you might have had a gap in making art and then come back to it. They're the types of stories that I love to hear. Times when you were making art in a particular way, but then decided that wasn't really your way of working. You might have been painting or drawing, but your heart wasn't in it. And then actually, after allowing yourself to have a break, you came back and did something, maybe something 3D, three-dimensional, like clay modeling or like a craft that really nurtured you and really kind of connected to what you wanted to do and allowed you to express yourself. So these are the types of things that make me love what I do in my life, and it makes me really hold on to my mission to make the world a more creative place, to help people to be able to express themselves more fully and more freely and feel safe enough to share their truth and to feel like confident in who they are. So if that helped and you are wanting to have a little bit of an extra kickstart to really get going with your creativity, with your art making, then I have a number of things available for you, and I will put them in the link in the description below, but I'm just going to explain what they are briefly. So first of all, I have a newsletter which you can be joining, and that can be like give you some of the information on this. And so if you end up like switching off now and not listening to anymore, then sign up to the newsletter and you can get these things emailed to you. And then I have a course that I am, it's a group program, online group program across 4 months called the Creative Flow program. And this is designed to really help people to expand their creativity, to really get into flow with their creativity and to build confidence, get to really know themselves and really like build those skills that can be for life. Skills for life, like those art skills. It's not just about making the picture, but it's about managing anxiety, coping skills, working out how to manage triggers if you're affected by something in your life. If something happens in your life, no matter what, that you'd have those skills to respond to that. And that's very much about really leaning into what you need from that program. So whilst it's a group program, I work with everybody in a personalized way. So nobody will be expected to do the same thing at all. I imagine that everybody's experience will be different. And because everybody also has a one-to-one session with me, that will help you to really kickstart where you want to go and make a plan, like map out the next 4 months, map out and beyond, map out how you want to be creative, how you want to show up, how much time you want to dedicate to your art practice or your poetry practice or your dance practice or your songwriting, whatever it is that makes your soul feel alive and makes you kind of feel that you love the creativity and that feels healing for you, whatever it is to you. That's part of that embracing that journey, and that part of that in that start model, that's allowing and responding to what works for you. So if you want to join that, then I would love to hear from you. So you can send me a message on Instagram or you can email or whatever works for you. That'd be great. And in addition, if that feels like you maybe want to try something out, but maybe not the group program, but something else out, that I have a mini course called the Creative Healing Kickstart course. And this is a 5-part video series designed to literally do what we've been talking about today. It gets you to be really setting intentions for your artwork. So you have a really clear plan so you can understand the reasons why you might be making art, the reasons why you might choose one thing one day and another thing another day. What sort of things stop you from being creative? For instance, if you are having a day where your energy is really flat and really, really low, like maybe your mood might be low, then you could lean into the guided art activity that is included in the Creative Kickstart course so that you can then it could be something that you even just watch on your phone whilst sat on the sofa, or even in bed if you're feeling like really flat in mood, or if you're exhausted, for instance. And that will help you to get started. And with that in mind, it just is an opportunity for you to try out, experience what working with me might be like. And if you feel that after going through the Kickstart course, after really allowing yourself to make art and be creative and step into your next era of art era, then what you might decide to do is then jump on a call with me, have a chat through your options, think about whether you want to do the one-to-one sessions with me, or whether group program is working for you. But ultimately, there is so many different options. And as I'm talking, I'm feeling that actually some of this could feel a bit overwhelming. There's lots and lots of different options available. And I've literally crammed in 2 different things, plus the newsletter, 3 different things into this podcast recording now. And I'm hoping that could inspire you. And if it does inspire you, and if it feels like you'd want to take the next step, and if you feel ready for the next step, then I am excited to welcome you on board to work with me. And if you have any questions, please let me know, because the world needs your art and needs you to be more creative, needs you to step into your era of creativity. Thanks for listening. Take care, and bye-bye for now.